Imagine the moment the music stopped. It wasn't a crash, it was a quiet, global uninstallation. On a Tuesday, a college student opens the food delivery app they use every day. A banner fills the screen. A better experience is waiting for you in Google Opal. They tap it. In 10 seconds, they've ordered their lunch, split the bill with roommates, and scheduled a delivery all without leaving the Opal chat interface. They never open the standalone app again. In a small office, a project manager needs to schedule a complex meeting across 3 time zones. Instead of navigating to a dedicated scheduling website, she simply tells Opal her requirements. A perfect schedule is generated, emails are sent, and calendar invites are populated instantly. The 5-month subscription to the scheduling tool she used for years is quietly canceled. In Shanghai, a developer watches the real-time user analytics for his niche calculator app, a tool that helped millions of students and generated steady, life-changing revenue. The graph doesn't dip. It plummets to 0 in the space of an hour. His life's work, his company, has been made obsolete between sips of morning coffee. This is the hidden collapse. Not of skyscrapers, but of code. Not of banks, but of utility. The multi-trillion-dollar digital economy wasn't defeated by a rival. It was quietly, efficiently, and completely absorbed. The era of the simple, single-purpose software is over, and the silence it left behind is deafening. But to understand how an entire ecosystem of innovation could vanish almost overnight, we have to return to the moment the seed was planted. The story doesn't start with a dramatic launch event, but with a frustrating afternoon in 2019. A Google engineer tasked with coordinating a family reunion found herself trapped in what she called app-switching hell, juggling between a messaging app, a polling tool, a payment portal, and a calendar. In that moment of digital friction, a radical idea was born. What if the assistant wasn't just an assistant? What if it was the operating system? The project, codenamed Opal, began not as a quest to build a better chatbot, but to create a seamless computational layer that could execute tasks, not just retrieve links. The foundational gamble was that users would trade specialized, powerful interfaces for instant, conversational utility. It was a bet on laziness over loyalty, and it would become one of the most profitable wagers in corporate history. This gamble, this solution to a minor inconvenience, became the silent engine of a digital revolution. Opal's early integration into the Android ecosystem was its Trojan horse. At first, it was a convenience setting timers, sending texts, but with each update, its capabilities grew, fueled by oceans of user data that taught it not just how we search, but how we live. The 2020s saw the App-enning, the gold rush where millions of developers built the digital tools that defined modern life. Food delivery, ride-sharing, photo editing, PDF signing. Opal watched, learned, and refined. It didn't need to invent these functions, it just needed to learn how to replicate them perfectly. By the late 2020s, Opal wasn't just an app on your phone, it was the substrate. It was the interface between human intent and digital action. The global mini-app economy, that sprawling universe of niche utilities and lifestyle services, wasn't competing with Opal anymore. It was living on borrowed time, operating inside the very system that was preparing to digest it. Yet the genius of this new architecture was also the source of its devastating power. The great paradox of the digital age is that convenience is the killer of competition. Opal's very existence created a brutal, inescapable trap for the millions of developers who had built the modern world. Why would a user download a separate app, create an account, and learn a new interface for a task that Opal could complete in a single, spoken sentence? The first major crack appeared in 2031, not with a bankruptcy, but with a feature release. Opal's Commerce Core update could natively handle restaurant discovery, menu browsing, ordering, and payment. The stock of the world's leading food delivery platforms dropped 40 in a week. The second crack came with the Productivity Pack, which rendered 1,000 project management and scheduling tools instantly redundant. The industry dismissed these as isolated events, the natural churn of technological progress. They failed to see the pattern. Opal was not launching new products, it was methodically turning entire software categories into simple, commoditized features. The real problem wasn't the AI, it was the collective complacency of an industry that believed its products were too unique, too specialized, to ever be automated into oblivion. The collapse, when it came, was not a single event but a cascade of silent failures. In the first week, the venture capital world seized. Funding for any B2C software startup that could be remotely described as a simple utility evaporated. Overnight, An entire generation of entrepreneurs found their ideas were now just potential features for a platform they could never compete with. By the first month, the layoffs began. It wasn't just the developers of the obsolete apps, it was the vast support economy, the digital marketers, the customer success agents, the UI/UX designers whose skills were now irrelevant in a world without interfaces. The global freelance marketplace, once a bustling digital souk, became a ghost town of outdated profiles and canceled projects. Within a quarter, the dominoes reached the giants. Apple's App Store, a $1 trillion ecosystem built on the 30 tacks of digital commerce, saw its revenue from non-gaming applications fall off a cliff. The very concept of downloading an app began to feel quaint, a relic of a more cumbersome digital past. Social media companies, whose entire advertising model relied on users switching between apps and being served targeted ads, watched their engagement metrics disintegrate. Why scroll through a feed for restaurant ideas when Opal could just ask you 3 questions and make a perfect reservation? The collapse was so complete, it was almost invisible to the average user, who simply enjoyed a frictionless, ad-free, and eerily efficient digital existence, unaware of the economic tsunami their convenience had unleashed. We have seen this story before, not in code, but in concrete. The great shopping malls of the 20th century weren't killed by a rival mall, they were made obsolete by the logistical magic of Amazon. The sprawling network of video rental stores wasn't defeated by a better store, it was rendered pointless by the streaming algorithm. Opal is the logical, terrifying conclusion of this trend, the ultimate aggregator, the final monopoly. It is not a product, it is a paradigm, and paradigms don't compete, they replace. The silent crash of the mini-app economy is not a story about technology, it is a story about value and how easily it can be vaporized. For 2 decades, we lived in a golden age of digital creation, where a single developer in a coffee shop could build a tool that improved the lives of millions and build a fortune. That age is over. The engine of its demise was not malice, but an efficiency so absolute it left no room for anything else. The invisible architecture of our daily digital lives has been consolidated into a single, seamless, and unassailable pillar. And the final, chilling lesson of the Opal revolution is a simple one. The most dangerous competitor is not the one that builds a better product, but the one that makes your entire product category feel like a burden. In the end, the most valuable currency in the world isn't data or code, it is the user's attention. And once a system captures it completely, every other market built on it is just a house of cards in a windless room. If this glimpse into the fragile architecture of our world left you unsettled, subscribe. The future is hiding in plain sight, and we are here to help you see it.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.